Thomas Carruthers.
I'm Will Leggetter.
And today begins another celebration, fortnight long, of a specific filmic person. We've had Alfred Hitchcock, we've had Meryl Streep, we've had Woody Allen. Am I missing one? Oh, we did the horrors of 1973.
We did.
And now we embark on our first. We've had an actor, we've had a director, we've had two directors, and in Woody we've had all three. But today we're doing our first screenwriter spotlight, and what better way to start than with one of my great idols, William Goldman.
You say Robert Redford?
Yes, Robert Redford. William Goldman. Essayist, author, screenwriter. As a man who humbly writes essays and authors a lot of stuff and screenwrites, I find his finger in many pies aesthetic very inspiring, and also just very educational. The great book, Adventures in the Screen Trade, and its pseudo sequel, Which Lie Did I Tell? Two Bibles for any aspiring screenwriter. I couldn't, and also if you're not even into it, they're great reads. Now we're obviously focusing solely on his screenwriting efforts, and we've curated many of his original screenplays, many of his adaptations, which are excellent. Some of other people's work, some of his own work. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's begin with our earliest film, 1969's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Exciting.
This is one of his two Oscar wins, the other being for All the President's Men, which is our next episode, another Redford team up. This is obviously the story of Paul Newman and Robert Redford as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, as they come to their end. We are at the tail end of their illustrious career as bank robbers in the Old West, and we follow them to Bolivia, and in Bolivia, as you all probably know, even if you haven't seen the film, you know that final shot, I presume. They meet their tragic end. Will, what is your relationship with Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?
On rewatch, I forgot how much I love this movie. It's very, very good. It's like a modern Western, but not too modern. And I sound very, very GCSE media studies when I say that. It's like, yeah,
I don't know if you'd get your GCSE if you wrote that sentence, but yes, it's definitely the first postmodern Western. There's no doubt in my mind that the screenplay is written from the point of view that people have seen many Westerns, and in 1969, obviously they had. It sort of split the critical community. The people who did like Westerns sort of said, this is a sort of I'm really over-exaggerating, but bastardization of the genre, and this is going to end the genre, and we're not going to have anything else after this. Also this year, you've got Sam Peckinpah's The Wild Bunch, which just takes the violence that had previously been unseen. Well, not unseen, but there was definitely no blood, not as much blood as in The Wild Bunch. And The Wild Bunch is also great. But this is deconstructions of myth, story, who tells your story. Oh, bloody terrible Hamilton. It wasn't meant to be a reference, but
there we go. We're expecting more references of Hamilton soon.
No, you will certainly not be getting any references. Who tells your story? And if you can tell your own story, when a myth catches up to you, everything. It's
very inspiring, Tom.
Thank you, Will. Let's jump straight into the opening line Hall of Fame, because this has got a great opening line and it's got a great closing line. I've actually been a bit naughty. I'm going to say that the opening line is, "Most of what follows is true."
Yeah, I'll give you it. I'll give you it.
Now, we're going to talk about this throughout. Basically, the original screenings, there were lots and lots of laughter, which is understandable. This is a very, very funny film. And George Roy Hill, the director, was rather depressed with this. And he famously commented to William Goldman, "They're laughing at my tragedy." So he clearly sees this as a tragedy, and I see it as a tragedy. The ending for me is one of the most bittersweet. The whole final half an hour, I feel more sad on the discussion of farming than I do in some actual tearjerkers. Like, I don't know how to farm. It's horrible to watch, and it's painful to listen to them admit all this. Especially, you know, the great scene where they go see the sheriff, and "You're gonna die a death that's bloody."
Paul Newman is Butch Cassidy, and the Sundance Kid is Robert Redford. Catherine Ross is Etta Place.
Dynamite's ready, Butch.
Well, that ought to do it.
Think you used enough dynamite there, Butch?
Most of this is true, and all of it blazes with action. You've never met a pair like Butch and Sundance.
Well, we're back in business, boys and girls.
Outlaws with style, in a class all their own.
You know, when I was a kid, I always thought I was going to grow up to be a hero.
Don't tell me how to rob a bank. I know how to rob a bank.
And anything you ask of me, I'll do. Except one thing. I won't watch you die.
You just keep thinking, Butch. That's what you're good at.
And you realise that, yeah, they most certainly are. And we'll get to a deleted scene that takes this one step further. But yes, no. So I do see it as a tragedy, you know, in lots of ways, but also it is a damn right hilarious comedy.
It is.
I laugh at this more than some proper comedies, and I get sad at this more than some proper sad films.
Well, yeah, you look at a lot of comedies that come out nowadays, and I can see why.
An incredible pair of rugged adventurers, creating a living legend on 2 continents.
But it's just one guy.
Don't you get sick of being right all the time?
They robbed trains,
Stop it.
looted banks,
Manos arriba! They got him up!
Ah, you're so damn smart, you read it.
and one girl shared their love and larceny.
Raindrops keep falling on my head. And just like the guy whose feet are too big for his bed, nothing seems to fit. Those raindrops are falling on my head.
What are you doing?
Stealing your woman?
Take her.
Boy, you're a romantic bastard, I'll give you that.
Then, Mr. E.H. Harriman of the Union Pacific put the top lawman in the West on their trail.
They're very good.
If he'd just pay me what he's spending to make me stop robbing him, I'd stop robbing him.
They were outlaws, running out of time and out of space, and a changing world was closing in on them. From the American West to New York, to the dangerous new frontier of Bolivia.
Bolivia.
Well, he'll feel a lot better after he's robbed a couple of banks.
I'll jump first.
And you jump first.
No, I said.
What's the matter with you?
It's the rarity. It's like one a year. I go, that was great. Game night was great.
Game night was fantastic.
Bridesmaids. I always go to Bridesmaids, but Bridesmaids came out like almost 10 years ago now. Skeleton Twins. But that's more of a dramedy. That's like, you know, the opening scene is a suicide attempt. It's like, you know, that's And it's got its own drama-esque things. I can't think of the last laugh-out-loud comedy that... I guess the Edgar Wright, but again, Hot Fuzz is 2007.
Really? Oh.
So I really laughed at what I thought Booksmart was quite funny. I thought Booksmart was very, very funny. I watched that twice.
Did you enjoy Were the Millers? I liked that.
Yes, that was funny.
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
I'll tell you what I really enjoyed. The Nice Guys.
The Nice Guys was great. You know what The Nice Guys reminded me of? Fletch. The Nice Guys. So there was a period where I was very excited for a Ryan Gosling Fletch movie, but that never came to pass. And maybe by the time that this episode comes out, the recently announced John Hamm Fletch movie will also be cancelled, like every other Fletch remake that comes down the line. But the John Hamm Fletch, directed by Greg Mottola, is very exciting. But I'm not going to let myself get excited until I see a trailer.
You never know. Maybe they'll just keep cancelling it until one day you'll be signed up for Fletch and it'll go forward. And you could be Fletch, Tom.
Well, I'd be happy with that. I was going to say my friend Ava, previous guest, and she's my friend. A previous guest ranks higher than friend. My friend and previous guest Ava sent me the news, and I'd already basically, you know, when you've got your phone turned off, and then when it comes up, you only see one message. Anyway, she'd put, I know how excited you are about this news. And before seeing that it was the Fletch news, I knew what the news was going to be. But hopefully, anyway. YouTube comments. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood felt like a modern version of this film. Hell, it even stars the two biggest heartthrobs of our day, DiCaprio and Pitt. Let's break this down. Are DiCaprio and Pitt the two biggest heartthrobs of our day?
Not of our day. They're a bit old now, aren't they? They were more 90s.
Yeah,
along with death.
If you want to be like that.
Sorry, I'm being pernickety.
I guess Ryan Gosling. Do we say that Ryan Gosling is a heartthrob?
I would.
Yeah. Maybe I'm just too attached to Lars and the Real Girl, a wonderful film. He's severely autistic, and so heartthrob is not the word to use. But I had that. Oh, go on.
A film I could never really get behind, which is a shame because it's Ryan again. Beyond the Pines.
Oh, I really enjoyed Place Beyond the Pines.
That's it. I
do think the idea of the structure is better than the film, and the third part is less good. But also, I very much enjoy it. And what's it? Oh, really? I never yawn outside of the show, and then I yawn all the time.
You do. This is a lie, Tom.
Well, I do. Yes, true. This was one of Tom's big questions. Actually, I'll save that. Yeah, I'll save that. Anybody else have raindrops keep falling on my head, stuck in their head? You do, because you were playing it on your Alexa before the show started. I was. This movie changed all movies made after it, as the hero-villain dynamic is concerned. In a way. I think I've never seen them as villains.
You can kind of justify it. So back then it was just a living, it was bank robbing.
Yeah, I've never seen it as.
I'd say there was anti-heroes who were redeemed through the course of the movie because it's written to sort of glorify them, not villainize them.
I don't think it glorifies them at all. I think, as a matter of fact, it makes them look sad and pitiful and miserable. For me, the bank robbing thing, because they don't kill lots of people. I've just gone they're not villains. They're fine. They don't hurt anybody. They hurt
a real bank.
They hurt poor Woodcock, but
they do.
He had it coming. He was in the way. Will, you'll have to help me with this reference. I came here because of Top Gear.
Yes, and this is also in my notes. We'll get to it now. I'll sort of ruin the format. The whole raindrops sequence with him on his bicycle. That it was directly parodied in the Patagonia special of Top Gear, which had the infamous reg plates when Jeremy got kicked out of Argentina. You remember that?
No, because I don't watch Top Gear, Will.
Oh, okay. The registration plate was H982 FKL.
H982 FKL. I don't get it.
1982 Falklands.
Right, okay.
And Jeremy decided that would be a great registration plate to drive around Argentina with. And they got followed by an angry mob. And it got quite scary, actually. But there's a scene where they went actually to Butch Cassidy's house, the place where it's filmed, the shack. And he's on his car instead, and they play Raindrops, and he's sat on top of his car going by the windows all the time. And it's wonderful.
Is Richard Hammond sat in the window like Catherine Ross?
He is.
Going...
He is. And then your final scene, because they're trying to escape from the hotel because there's an angry mob of Argentinians outside. They're on. And so they say, right, okay, let's run. And they go for it. And then it freezes and you hear the gunshots. And then you've got the credits.
They say, let's run?
No, not. They said, they don't say let's run.
Are you trying to remember the final line of the film?
I am trying to remember the final line.
Did you see LaFour's out there? No, I didn't. Good. For a minute there, I thought we were in trouble. Fuego! 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 Ding, 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 ding.
And then in the Top Gear one, all of the first names of everyone were changed to Robert Leroy. So it's Robert Leroy Clarkson, Robert Leroy Hammond.
Yeah, that's why I don't like Top Gun. Top Gun's not
good. I don't like Top Gun either.
No, I do like Top Gun. I don't like Top Gear. But I do think the worst part of Top Gun are the jet flights. You can't tell what's happening. I've always thought this. You really cannot tell what's happening. I think they were revolutionary filmed, but I think, actually, they're quite confusing. But anyway, maybe I'm just stupid. All that you need, guns, explosives, romance, montage, etc. Just perfect.
Not so good. Can you take the two on the right?
Kid, there's something I think I ought to tell you. I never shot anybody before.
One hell of a time to tell me.
Vale más que se hagan un lado porque a lo mejor estos nos matan.
Try for the two on the right. Go for them dead center. That way, if you miss a little, you'll still hit something.
Go! Hey. Please! Hey. Por favor! Por favor!
Would you put anything else into a film, Will?
A nice food. I'm a big fan of food porn.
What about the steak in this?
Yeah, but it's not
speciality of the house, and the damn thing's still moving.
It's just a steak at the end of the day. If you watch, I'm sure we'll get to Chef. That's just full of food porn. I like watching cooking scenes when they just it just looks so nice.
Cooking scenes annoy me because I always get hungry.
Yes, they're very bad to watch late at night, and you're in bed.
Especially Hannibal.
And then you have to,
even though I know it's technically human, it's not human, and it's just chicken. and the way he does it all beautifully, and the red wine and everything. Some words of advice from Hair Bras. Stay hot, Etta. Catherine Ross is a very beautiful woman. This is true. And she did. I think she aged very beautifully. Catherine Ross is still beautiful to this day. Spider-Man 2 brought me to this.
This is also in my notes.
Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head.
I was going to. That was Will's big question. What's the better? Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. This or Spider-Man 2?
It's this one. It's this one. And your lazy joke doesn't pacify me. Also, it has Robert Redford from Captain America and from the Marvel Universe. Oh, wonderful. Oh,
that was his first film, wasn't it?
Instead. Jesus Christ. Get a grip. Watch some real bloody films instead of your shit.
Oh. Let them off. They've seen this as well as the Marvel.
No, they've watched the trailer. All we know is that they watched the trailer, Will. We don't actually know that they watched the film. When they write me a strongly worded email that says, I watched Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, I'll give them credit. But until then, I will not give them any credit. 10-minute stretch, Will. Why don't you start us?
I've got two contenders. Literally, the shootout. That's a great shootout.
Bolivia?
Shootout. Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. Bolivia.
The final Bolivian one.
Yeah. And then I've also got the Raindrops bicycle sequence, but which for me, I've made it 10 minutes if you just include the things either side, because that's for me my favourite part of the film, and it's just glorious. That stretch. It's a 6-minute stretch, but I've made it 10 minutes for the sake of talking about it, and it's lovely. We cannot
underestimate the strangeness of that song appearing in this film in 1969. Yes. Obviously it's iconoclast now, and even if you don't know Butch Cassidy, but you were throwing things out, you could go, oh, and it freeze frames and the Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head song. Yeah. Okay. I've not seen it, but I know it's those two guys. But
what's your opinion on using songs from a different time?
The rarity when it works for me. This obviously works because it sounds rinky-dink.
Yeah.
I also like Leonard Cohen's beautiful soundtrack to the Macabre and Mrs. Miller, because it sounds guitar. It sounds old. What I don't like is in Django Unchained, where Kanye West, I can't remember what the actual song is, but I think it's something Black Hoe or something. Anyway, it's about slaves, I think, and that comes on when they're going to Candyland, and it's so abrupt and jarring. It doesn't work at all. However, I adore when David Bowie's Cat People putting out the fire kicks in Inglourious Bastards. That's the best part of the film.
That's very, very good.
So it varies. I remember I sort of had a bit of a snobby. I've got a snobby thing about it. I'll just be honest. If it's songs that I like and that it fits well, then of course I like it. But I think, for instance, also in Django Unchained, I got a name by Jim Croak. I've never found out how to pronounce his name. I don't know whether it's Crocky, Crochet.
I'll be honest. Sneaking confession. I'm like that with Bowie. I always try. Is it Bowie or Bowie? I always try to say a combination of the two in order. If someone says sorry, what? So I say like Bowie.
It's David weird. Bowie, because his kid was called Zowie Bowie, and
or Zoe Bowie.
The kid was called Zowie Bowie, and then he changed his own name to Duncan Jones. And he's a good director in his own right. Moon was a wonderful film. Source Code was less good, and Warcraft was
great.
And Warcraft was bad. Yeah, but Source Code is good. I enjoyed it, but it's not as good as Moon. Moon is great. Kevin Spacey, Sam Rockwell. Kevin Spacey is a helpful robot. If I had Kevin Spacey as a helpful robot, maybe that's how we can get him back. We just put him into a robot, so he can't.
Yeah, but
it's not actually him.
this is Hal all over again.
Well, yes, that's the influence of the character. It's wonderful. But this isn't the Moon show. I also have the final Bolivian shootout.
Yes.
Back and forth this with the little Bolivian boy who sees the H on the horse, and they're just doing their regular banter, back and forth, talking about the steak, and then bang, 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 bang. I guess it's a Tom's big question, but I'll do it now. Something I've never been clear on, and I presume it's ambiguous, but it's never a question that I hear. Do they know that they're going to die? Because they don't see or hear those hundreds of men lining up. So, because it feels bittersweet, it feels like they know that they're going to their death.
Yeah.
But also, the way that Butch asks, did you see LaForce out there? And the reason that's why, and this is the reason the line lands, is because it feels like he's saying it sincerely. And so I've never really understood whether they knew they were going to their death or not.
Maybe he's saying that to cheer him up, because he looks after him. I don't know. I do think they know what they're going into, which is that it's that brave, heroic final. Let's go out all guns blazing sort of exit. That's how I like to see it.
Ding, 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 ding. I've cheated because there's a scene in between, but the two woodcock robberies. I work for E.H. Harriman of the Union Pacific Railroad. And then I just love Butch's happiness when he realizes that it's Woodcock again. Woodcock! And he goes, oh, Butch, if it was my money, Butch, I wouldn't want anybody else to rob it. If anybody but you. And the wonderful George Firth, who wrote the book for Company.
Wonderful.
Yes. And rewrote the book for Company for the gender bend.
Yes.
And the gay version, which was, I think it talked about Alan Paddington too. I thought was fine. I didn't think the problem was the gender bending. I thought the problem was the casting. Rosalie Craig. I'm sorry. Sorry. No.
Well, they got Patty. They got Patty there.
They got Patty, and it was
that's the important thing.
It was absolutely incredible. The fact that I never thought I'd be able to see the woman on a stage. I saw her twice. It was a great moment.
Is that the first time you've seen her?
Is it? Yeah, no, of course it was. Yeah.
Wow.
She's always in New York, isn't she?
She is always partying in New York.
She's in New York. My other nominations are Bolivia, when the South American getaway sequence where they learn how to rob banks in Spanish. And we should note now that the music for that scene is our YouTube intro music on Spotify. Yes. You don't have that, but you do have on our YouTube the dun 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 dun. Because when we started this show, Will, I'd just rewatched Butch Cassidy, and I thought that's a great track.
It is. It sounds like something straight out of an IT Crowd segment as well. Yes,
you've always said this, haven't you?
Yeah.
You've ignored the beautiful compositions of Burt Bacharach and referred to it as cheap insert music from IT Crowd. And the job shootout where they go and get a job, and they get all very anxious. They're not gonna shoot us going down the hill. They're gonna shoot us coming up the hill when we got the money. And then obviously that poor guy gets shot. And then we have the parallel to the brilliant I Can't Swim with Butch. I should tell you this now, I've never shot a man before. You're gonna tell me now? It's just terrific.
I can't dance.
No, but he can't swim.
Hell, it's just a bank like any other bank. Gotta move in slowly, check out everything. The thing to remember when
Don't tell me how to rob a bank. I know how to rob a bank.
Boy, a few dark clouds appear on your horizon, you just go all to pieces, don't you?
Buenos días, señores. ¿Les puedo servir en algo? Ordenen para atenderlos, por favor, de inmediatamente. ¿Quieren hacer algún depósito? Si quieren abrir alguna cuenta, vean al cajero para que los atienda inmediatamente. Los atendemos, por favor. Señor.
Specific favorite parts of the film. The opening with the bank. Small price to pay for beauty. Sets up the whole film beautifully. These are two men against changing tides. They are trying to stick their ground, but they just can't. The world is changing rapidly all around them, and there's no way out. And
that's beautiful, Tom. You should make that into prose.
I think William Goldman already did. I'm sure. His screenplays read like prose. They're beautiful. They're like books. It's marvelous. The news carver when he's reading the newspaper clipping, and he goes, Butch Cassidy's hole in the wall. There you go. Listen to that, Butch Cassidy, and he keeps talking. You can shut up now, news. And he goes, no,
I'll make it difficult.
Go on.
For your editing, insert Bring on the Wall.
Bring on the wall!
Why?
Because they're called Hole in the Wall Gang.
Bring on the wall!
I want every time we mention Hole in the Wall, you've got him shouting, Bring on the Wall.
Bring on the wall!
Every time. Okay, so I'm not going to mention it anymore.
Bring on the wall!
I am, and I'm gonna say it at very strange places.
Bring on the wall!
Wonderful. Sundance's list of requirements for a woman. She's only got to be pretty and smart and charming and beautiful and affable.
It sounds a lot like you.
Oh, well, yes, but he's got Catherine Ross at the end of the rainbow, whereas I have nil point.
You've got your Casablanca canvas.
Thank you, Will. If there was a lonely, if there was something worse than what I said, it was that. Maybe my favourite little moment in the film is in the bicycle sequence where he breaks through the fence and Paul Newman makes the most marvellous face at a cow. Little scrunchy face. It's beautiful. The point to the brothel from the old guy that they put out front. Now I'd believe it. I'd believe him if he told them that I left town 5 minutes ago, and then that wonderful George Roy Hill zoom. It's just marvelous. I've always found this very satisfying. Paul Newman's flop into the water. I've always enjoyed that because I can tell that they're warm. So.
I want to go swimming now, or just sit in a nice warm hot tub.
Yeah, do it if you can.
All right, see.
The wonderful when they come home to Etta after the super posse chase, and he goes, "Don't make a big deal out of it." Oh, okay, make a big deal out of it, and they hug, and it's lovely and it's beautiful. There is a lot to be said about the cutaways to Butch every single time Etta is with Sundance and his constant third wheel misery, and just that He he's very happy for the both of them, and he's got his prostitutes, I guess, but he wants somebody. The wonderful bicycle throwaway and the spin into the montage, which we'll get to. My favourite part in the montage, it's another third wheel moment, is the dance where the music slows down again and it's ding, 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 ding. And it's Etta and Sundance dancing, and Butch has just sat there on his table. It's lovely. Oh my God, these are the world's worst notes. I can't read a bloody thing. Who am I? Who am
Tom
I?
never yawns.
I never yawn outside the podcast. Who am I? Who am I? When I go, Smith, come over here. Who am I? Smith or Jones?
Doctor Who, Series 3, Episode 1. Smith and Jones.
Which one does that consist of?
It's Jadoon Platoon on the Moon.
It's called Smith and Jones?
Yeah.
Oh,
because
I thought it was called The Missing Moon, The Missing Hospital. If it was a 60s episode, it'd be called The Missing Hospital. That's a great, depressing Doctor episode where the Doctor's dead, and it's like all the tragedies.
Turn left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's got that scarab, and then it's like every episode, it's like every cutaway scene, it's the people on the moon are trapped and gonna die. Like, bloody hell, the Titanic killed Buckingham Palace. Max Capricorn, because I'm Max.
It really does that.
Mm.
Oh, I love it. It's great.
That's my one change.
Actually, the flashing teeth.
It's not a change.
Sparkling teeth.
You could pass it off because he's a robot, I guess. Anyway,
he's not.
He's a half a robot now, isn't he?
I'd say he's 8/9 robot.
Mm-hmm. He's one part human, and it's his head. We robbed this place 3 months ago. Great. That's painful, as I just said, that painful zoom in on the farm. I don't know how to farm.
Do you know how to
hard
farm,
work.
Tom?
No, I don't. Farming's hard work. You got to be a young man to farm. They're not young men anymore. Butch definitely knows it. Butch is obviously older than Sundance, obviously, and well. And maybe my second favorite. No, scrap the cow. This is my favorite part of the film. This is No Time for Bravery. I'll let you. The brilliant delivery, without the pause, is my favorite part of the film, and it's. I think that's one time where the written word is emphasized and elevated marvelously. Right. Williams' more general favorite part of the film.
I like the opening credits. I think they're very nice. It's all sepia. It's I do like an opening credits when they're themed, rather than sometimes you don't even get them. Nowadays you don't get them, do you? Opening credits.
There is. I've never really liked when names are coming on throughout.
Yeah.
The first 15 minutes. That's always, for some reason, really annoyed me, and I don't know why. You get it a lot with like 80s, 90s legal thrillers or something. I don't mind like All the President's Men, tomorrow's episode, or whatever it comes out, I can't remember. Where it's like static shots and the names. But as soon as somebody starts talking and there's a scene that we're supposed to be watching and starring Robert De Niro is still in the bottom left-hand corner, you need to stop it. You need to stop.
I love it when Butch kicks him in the balls.
Oh, you can have a knife fight.
1, 2, 3, go. I like when they're on the cliff face, that sudden quick zoom out to show how severe drop it is. That's a great shot. And
wonderful use of snap zooms in this film. Really emphasise George Roy Hill's masterful direction of it.
How did they get that shot? Because back then it would have been, would it have been a helicopter?
There's a variety of different ways. There's not as many special features on the disc as I want. I mean, I just put everything on there. My God, just have a Titanic. More than even Titanic doesn't have enough. I want more special features than I will ever get around to. That's the best type. I love Edgar Wright, the Cornetto trilogy audio commentaries, because on every one they say we're going to have a competition to see how many audio commentaries we can get on a disc. And Hot Fuzz has like 5. It has Edgar Wright and Nick Frost. Then it has the Police. Then it has the some members of the NWA, and it has it even has a Edgar Wright and Quentin Tarantino commentary track, which is incredible. Shaun of the Dead has a whole Penelope Wilton and Bill Nye audio commentary track. Just them. It's lovely. It's lovely to listen to. And the first thing I googled was, is Bill Nye married? Is Penelope Wilton married? And Penelope Wilton's divorced, and get them together. I can't remember. I think Bill Nye is with somebody, but anyway.
And then I've got I like when they jump in. I like Robert shouting shit. It's just a fun. It's like shit. That's a fun one. And that's my more general notes.
Okay, Oscar travesty time. As previously mentioned, William did win his best screenplay Oscar. His famous quote about his obituary was that I will have in the first line of my obituary Butch and All the President's Men, and he was true. Best picture went to Midnight Cowboy. Butch was nominated. Hello, Dolly was also nominated. Anne of a Thousand Days was also nominated, and Z, political crazy thriller. So for me, Butch and Midnight Cowboy are the 2 best films of that year. I really like They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Sorry?
On a completely different side note, just from the Z, I don't know what it was, but it reminded me of, you know Xanadu, the musical?
I do. Spelt with an X.
Yes, but continuing with the Z, Xanadu.
Spelt with an X.
There's a musical called Xanadu.
Right. Okay. And what? Right. Is it?
I don't know.
Is it funny? Is it what?
I don't know what it is. I just found it on a playlist and it amused me.
Right. Okay. Very good. Anyway, back to Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. I don't know whether Midnight Cowboy is better than Butch and Sundance. I'd probably say Butch and Sundance is better, but I don't know. Maybe after a rewatch of Midnight Cowboy.
I do like the fact that Dustin is named after Rizzo the Rat in Midnight Cowboy.
I think it's the other way around, but I have to. I might have to question that one. Maggie Smith, the wonderful Maggie Smith, won for the prime of Miss Jean Brodie. Jean. Lovely. John Wayne won for True Grit. I think Voight's better. I think Hoffman's better. Why no nomination for either Paul or Robert Redford for Best Actor or Supporting Actor?
Neither. That's really sad. None of them are in Best Actor. I don't. Yeah. Who would you kick out then?
Probably Anne of a Thousand Days. It's pretty dull. It's not the best film in the world. It's just one of those old, big, bloated historical epics. It's fine.
So in that respect, you'd kick Burton out as well?
I put Paul in before I put Redford in. I think Paul Newman's performance in The Sum is nuanced, beautiful, painful, and actually put I'd actually maybe get rid of Burton just this once, and give Newman the Best Actor nomination and Redford the Best Supporting. And also, I think Catherine Ross does a marvelous job for what she's in the film. But these are stacked. This is a nice, and I would never deny Goldie Hawn anything. As previously mentioned, William Goldman did win, and I have to say I completely agree. After all, I think this is one of the finest screenplays ever made.
Side note: Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice. That's a bad name.
No, it's a great name. It's a great film.
This was the controversy I had with when we originally named the podcast, and it was Carruthers and Leggetter and whoever.
Yeah, because it rolls off the tongue. Carruthers and Leggetter and whoever.
You see, you slipped up. It's Carruthers, Leggetter, and whoever. It's
no, because I was saying the old one.
Also, I don't want to be subjected to being an and. I feel like I'm part of the big picture. I'm not and Will Leggetter. What's that all about?
Because it highlights the multiple aspects of it. If the film's Bob, Carol, Ted and Alice, Bob and Carol and Ted and Alice, you're really showing that there are 4 people in this. And yeah,
how about
Carruthers and Leggetter and whoever?
You rename it 4 People. That's an indie name.
Well, you haven't seen the film, well, so you can't comment. Best original song did indeed go to Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. Jean by Rod McEwen is a fine little song. I like it. But the winner is naturally Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. And BJ Thomas, which was my nickname in another day. No. Hated the song. He thought it was going to ruin his career. Dum Dum.
Really?
It was the biggest song he ever had. And he thought, big bad song. He was desperately wrong. It won cinematography for Conrad Hall. Couldn't agree more. It didn't even get a nomination for editing, which I think that's where the travesty lies this week, as well as the acting possibilities. Will's favourite building or set?
It's a strange one, really. I thought for this film because there's not many nice buildings. They're all just a bit old. I suppose you could put Butcher's the hideout, the house at the end in Bolivia, because it's iconic. I like the bank because the one in particular where he's like, "Whoa, this used to be really pretty," and I like that one.
It is a nice bank.
There's not much to choose from. I thought I was disappointed.
That being said, I think the set design is marvelous.
Yes, it's it does what it needs, but obviously as a designer, I'm looking for a nice polished concrete structure in the middle of Bolivia.
But you're not going to get it.
Okay.
Best single minute. The opening 2 scenes. The meeting in the bank scene that we've discussed, and the obvious meeting of good old Sundance and You Haven't Lost a Hand Since You've Got the Deal. Prayer. And just brilliant screenwriting and directing and acting. We meet these characters, we know them completely within the space of 2 very short scenes. And we also know their dynamic when it comes to the end of the Sundance scene, and Butch comes in to help him and sort him out, and we know their dynamic as well. I think it's by the time that we go to full colour, you feel like you spent a lifetime with them.
Yeah.
They're beginning to get on my nerves. Who are those guys?
Yeah.
Terrific. The bike scene, as we've previously alluded to. The wonderful scene where they go see the sheriff and they want to apply for the army. And, they... no, you're outrun. You got to tie me up. tie me up and make it look like you tried to rob me or something. You're going to die a bloody death. And that hangs over you for the whole film. And it's like a ghost. It's a tragedy completely. It's Greek. This is the prophet saying, this is, the three witches in Macbeth. This, you will be caught in Bolivia. He doesn't say that. But
there was on a side, that scene in particular was quite controversial, wasn't it? There was sort of, was it Paul and George had a massive disagreement?
Yes, it varied. Some basically, Paul thought it slowed the momentum of the super posse chase down, and he thought that it should come at the end. George thought that that's where it belonged. I don't know. I think it works because the second half of the super posse chase is more deflated, and
I say, where else are you going to put it? Yeah.
Well, no, at the end of the chase, I can see Paul's argument, but also the second half of the super posse chase is very deflated. I mean, the biggest controversy was, of course, as we've talked about, the bike scene. Robert Redford openly thought, we've ruined the film. He saw the first cut and he thought, what the hell is this scene doing in the middle of this film? You've ruined this star film I was going to be in. So yeah, rough stuff. The dive off the cliff is marvelous, as we've talked about.
Yeah.
The montage, the wonderful old New York montage, and the different tracks from Burt Bacharach's score.
Long way, though, isn't it?
Everything's got to be perfect with you.
I just don't want to get there and find out it stinks. That's all.
At least think about it.
All right. I'll think about it. Hey, when we get outside, when we get to the horses, just remember one thing. Hey, wait a minute. What? You didn't see the fours out there, did you? The fours? No. Oh, good. For a moment there, I thought we were in trouble.
And it's just terrific. The old timey feel, and it really plays into the mood, the atmosphere of the film. And as I've said, that beautiful dance moment gets me every time. It's terrific. And Etta's goodbye, and it's not even really a goodbye. It's, I think,
it is. We know it is.
They know it is,
yeah.
And yeah, no, I think Etta's going to cut out. And she's just got that blank look on her face. Painful. Which will lead into when we talk about one of the deleted scenes. But anyway. Your nominations for Best Single Minute, William.
I've got the knife fight. Which I just love it. I think it's very well acted. I like how he's even when he's reading out the newspaper and then he starts talking over the top of him. I like that because it's real. And then he tells him to shut up. I like the ones before he goes sudden snap. The little that he's joking with him. He's having fun. I love that. Jump into the what is it? It's a waterfall going into a pool.
It's like a river.
Yeah. I like that.
Of course, Redford would obviously be later in. A river runs through it.
And he would be on a boat.
All is lost.
An Indecent Proposal.
Oh, I thought you were referring to the movie where it's just him on a boat for 90 minutes. That might have been a better... Yeah. All is lost. An okay film. All is lost.
And then I've got learning Spanish. I like that.
Learning what?
Spanish.
not Splanish.
Did I say Splanish?
Pretty sure. So, quotes, boy, I got vision and the rest of the world wears bifocals. I could do 200 of these. I think every single line of this film is just so pitch perfect. Kid, there's something I ought to tell you. I never shot anybody before. One hell of a time to tell me. Kid, the next time I say, let's go someplace like Bolivia, let's go someplace like Bolivia, I use that one all the time. Whenever I'm caught in a bad situation, and people look at me like I'm a madman.
You say Bolivia, or do you change it?
No,
You
I say
adapt it
Bolivia.
to where you are.
No, I say Bolivia because then it's not a reference. You know, next time I say, let's go someplace like Bolivia, let's go someplace like Bolivia. Is that what you call giving cover? Is that what you call running? If I knew you were going to stroll. Ready? Okay, when we go outside and we get to the horses, whatever happens, just remember one thing. Hey, wait a minute. What? You didn't see LaForce out there, did you? LaForce? No. Oh, good. For a moment there, I thought we were in trouble. And you are in trouble. You're going to die. Hey, what you doing? Stealing your woman? Take her. Take her. Well, you're a romantic bastard, I'll give you that. How many of them are following you? How many of them are following us? All of them. All of them? What's the matter with those guys? That's terrific. And a few final ones now. You throw a couple out and then I'll give you some final ones.
The two I've got down are The Future's All Yours, You Lousy Bicycles, when he's throwing the bicycle. And then I like, actually all of mine are bicycle themed because I know, you know what you're doing? Theoretically. I like that. That's good.
You know, it could be worse. You can get a lot more for your money in Bolivia. I checked on it. What could they have here that you could possibly want to buy? Some wonderful comedy from Redford. We sort of forget that Redford started out as a lousy, well, not a lousy dramatic actor, but an actor in lousy dramatic films and a great comedian. You know, his big break is in the theatre with Barefoot in the Park. It's yes. You know, he's a great comedian. And I think that's sort of been lost through the years. What do you think? I'll bet you it's just one guy. Don't you get sick of being right all the time? And Butch, do you ever wonder if I'd met you first, we'd be the ones to get involved? But we are involved, Edda. Don't you know that? I mean, you are riding on my bicycle. In some Arabian countries, that's the same as being married. Okie dokie. So that's it for Beth Lines. What's the change, Will? Have you got one?
More shooting.
What?
Not at the end. There's enough shooting there. But I think. Are
you trying to say that this film is boring, Will?
No, don't make no.
Why does it need more guns?
More action. I like it. No, I was just trying to. I don't think I had a change.
Apart from more shooting.
More shooting.
I think the forced sex scene goes on. It's not a forced sex scene, but the preamble to it goes on a touch too long. It feels very long, and it starts feeling awkward. I think that could be cut down a little, because the payoff is funny and romantic and even sexy a little, but the build-up is a bit elongated. Woodcock's definitely dead with that amount of dynamite. I'm sorry. Woodcock is a dead man. I don't know whether it's a change or not, but
it's like OJ.
Yes, it is comedic in that sense. Yes. What's left from Will's notes?
I've got. Have we talked about how it freezes at the very last bit?
I think we've talked around it. Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
I like it. I think it's the fact that we stop there rather than we see them running out
Oh yeah,
And I think that's the perfect ending. Oh,
because they are immortalized forever, and that is how we remember them. We remember them as these, bank robbers and who fled to Bolivia and eventually had to be gunned down by the Bolivian army. And they have been immortalized, and such as they are immortalized in the final frame of the film.
If you were a bank robber,
yes,
where would you flee to?
Where am I robbing banks?
Should that matter? You could flee anywhere in the world. You've got a 24-hour window to get anywhere before they realise.
There ain't planes.
This is modern day.
So I'm a modern day bank robber.
Yes.
Well, it's a lot harder to. I don't know. I'd flee to. Again, where am I robbing banks? Because you've got to be fleeing from somewhere, Will.
All right. Okay. You are at HSBC in Wakey.
Okay. I'll flee to. I don't know. Maybe I can't flee to Mercia because the apartment's in my grandma's name, so that could be a leak. They could get something there, or I could flee to Mercia, and it's got to be somewhere nice and sunny. Well, no, we know the problem that the boys face is that they can't stop robbing banks.
Yeah.
They try going steady, going straight rather, and they fail at every turn. Sometimes through faults of their own, sometimes through faults of other people, but they just can't seem to get a break. And I think I could have the temperament to stop bank robbing. So I'd
like to hope anyone would, really.
Yeah, but if that's all you're good at, well. Any other notes?
That's it.
So the opening of the film is obviously that they're supposed to be watching the Hole in the Wall gang.
Hey.
Yeah. They're supposed to be watching that silent film. And so they're watching that silent film, which is a really odd thing, which they did do. There is by history. So imagine watching yourself in that film. And you're like, oh, I guess loads of people do it now because it's biopics. But in those days, that wasn't a thing that happened, And so the original, there was another scene in Bolivia, and William Goldman did his research. He was like, okay, where it could be, they could have been there at that time when the film was going around Bolivia, because there was another film, a sequel film, where in the film, before they were actually killed in real life, they were killed by LaFours in the silent film. And so there was supposed to be a scene where they watch themselves being killed, and it sort of really unsettles them, and that sort of Etta's instigation to leave when she does. And I'd love to see that film. I'd love to see that footage. It was apparently all shot. Yeah. I don't know where. It's been lost to the wind or whatever. There's only one deleted scene on the Blu-ray, and it's not that. So I'd like to see it, but that's. What do you think of that sort of ending?
It certainly gives it more motive, more of a sense of panic,
lends to that
inevitable
tragedy of it.
Yeah. No, it's maybe a bit of foreshadowing, maybe. It's a good idea.
George Roy Hill apparently cut it because he thought it was a bit on the nose and a bit too foreboding. And I can see that, but also I think it would work beautifully. But anyway, Catherine Ross enjoyed shooting the silent bicycle riding sequence best because it was handled by the film crew's second unit rather than the director. She said any day away from George Roy Hill was a good one. This was after she had been scolded and banned from the set for operating a camera.
Oh.
Which we'll get to
Right.
now.
Yeah.
On the first day of shooting involving the train robbery scenes, Catherine Ross came to the set to watch. There were 5 cameras and only 4 operators, so cinematographer Conrad L. Hall put her on the extra camera. He showed her how to operate it and how to move it to get her shot. Director George Roy Hill was furious, but said nothing the whole day. At the end of the day, however, he banned her from the set, except when she was working.
Just a camera.
Mm. Paul Newman sawed George Roy Hill's desk in half because he wouldn't pay his bill for liquor when he borrowed from my office.
Would you drink on set?
It depends. Depends what sort of mood we're in. Yeah. If I was playing an alcoholic, I don't think I would go. I don't think I would go that method. But if I'm in but if it's like a fun party scene and it's a big comedy film or whatever, or it's an improv heavy night of shooting and it's supposed to be a relaxed party scene, and I wouldn't do it behind anybody's back if it was like all part of it and we were talking with the director or I was directing it and I was like, okay, I want to breed an atmosphere of a bit more relaxed and whatever.
Yeah, I say if I was a director and there was a drinking scene, or I'd probably just get them to drink real booze, unless I knew one of them had a major problem and it wouldn't end well.
But also you've got to shoot the scene multiple times, so which is why I only think it works with improvisation activities, not really shooting an actual scene over and over again. With 9 wins, it currently holds the record for the BAFTAs. It won for picture, actor for Redford, actress for Catherine Ross, direction, screenplay, cinematography, editing, sound and score. It won every award it could, as its 10th nomination was a dual nomination for Best Actor.
There you go.
The song, everybody got Montezuma's revenge whilst filming in Mexico, apart from Paul Newman and Robert Redford, because all they drank was beer. They didn't drink any of the water, bottled beer. The song Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head was written after the rough cut was completed, and when Robert Redford first saw it in the movie, he thought it was terrible. The agents for singer B.J. Thomas regretted letting him do it and thought it would ruin his career.
If it's made it into a Spider-Man movie, you've made it.
The filmmakers tried to get Bob Dylan to sing Burt Bacharach's famous song for the movie. He declined. I can see why. The only major conflict between Paul Newman and George Roy Hill occurred over what became known as the Bledsoe scene, a break in the extended Super Pussy chase when Butch and Sundance go to visit an old sheriff, hoping to get his help enlisting them in the army to fight in the Spanish-American War. Newman felt the scene should come at the end of the chase and be the motivation for their flight to South America. Hill disagreed strongly. Every day, Newman came on the set with fresh arguments for why it should be done this way, and with increasing passion for his opinion. Paul was becoming almost anal about it, noted Redford, who at one point jokingly suggested they rename the film The Bledsoe Scene. Ultimately, Hill won the argument. This was the movie that motivated David Fincher to become a director. Wonderful director. Dustin Hoffman was considered for the role of Butch Cassidy. Can we see this?
Yes. Oh no, sorry. I can see it for Sundance Kid.
Natalie Wood was considered for the role of Etta Place. I can see that.
Yeah, I can see that.
And we talked about the Bolivian cinema scene. Okay.
Yes.
Tom's big question. Is this I think it's mine. Is this your favourite buddy cop movie, buddy movie?
Yeah. I'd say that, yeah.
I'm a big fan of Midnight Run. Never been a big Lethal Weapon guy. I think they're great. I love them, but never been a big. I wouldn't say I love them actually. Nice Guys was very good though. Maybe in a few years that'll
enjoy Nice Guys. Yeah,
solidify a place. What's happening with Etta? Is it a menage a trois? Is it a?
I mean, not much can happen now, can it?
Does Butch love her?
It's the context, really, isn't it? Because you don't know leading up to this. What's it been like before? I I think it's the beginning of a wonderful relationship that just she realizes it can't work, and obviously it can't work because he ends up getting shot.
Yeah, that's always a hindrance.
I think we're seeing what could be, but it can't.
Alas. Painful stuff. Okay, so Tarantino's big comment when it came to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was, "You've never seen chemistry on screen like Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio since Redford and Newman." Is he correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if this film was to be remade, how
would we have them?
How about Brad Pitt? And how about a really meta movie where it's a remake of Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, but it's Rick Dalton and Cliff Booth playing those two, and Cliff Booth's tried to go into acting.
Yeah, because he would be a stunt double, wouldn't he? Yeah, I'd enjoy that. I'd enjoy that a lot.
Be good. Tarantino keeps saying he wants to make 10 episodes of Bounty Law for Netflix.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
I mean,
I would watch that.
Yeah, I'd watch it in a heartbeat. It'd be very interesting to watch. We'll see. I'm a firm believer in that the film should have been 3 hours. I watched all of the deleted scenes. Just put them all in. They were all great. Great film. Incredible film. Masterpiece. Is this... I think it's mine. Is this your favourite Western?
Oh, I like Back to the Future 3.
Oh, yeah. Okay. We haven't really talked much about Westerns, well, have we?
We don't know. Is this our first Western?
Yeah, this is our first Western.
Yeah.
I love The Searchers. I love True Grit. I prefer the Coen version of True Grit. I like Shane.
I would say this is my favourite Western. I've not seen Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
That was great. Ballad of Buster Scruggs was excellent. It has to be said. And I just said it. Who's the better performance? Paul Newman.
Paul Newman. John Newman. His albino twin. It's Paul for me.
Yeah.
Paul. Even though Robert won the BAFTA, but was that because Paul was up against John?
No. They both got nominated for Best Actor.
Ah, okay. That makes sense.
So Redford just beat him outright, which I don't know. I think overall, Paul Newman's the better actor in everything. I think if we're looking at bodies of work, Paul Newman is a better actor than, The Verdict, The Hustler, Colour of Money. Who knows? Well, this is our first William Goldman film. We have 5 more to go. Some you've seen, some you haven't seen. You didn't really know who William Goldman was, did you, Will?
I didn't, which I'm disappointed with that. I need to say, there's somebody at the door. Give me time.
Okay.
Have no fear. Alice is here.
Ah.
There we go.
You didn't really know who William Goldman was, did you, Will?
No, and I'm very disappointed, really, because I as a fan of an interest in writing myself, I know you're a very big writer. I wish I recognise more screenwriters because they're often the ones that are forgotten about.
It is the rarity that you have a celebrity screenwriter.
Yeah.
And every time you do have a celebrity screenwriter, they're also a director.
Matt Damon sort of thing.
Yeah, but they only had one, Damon and Affleck. I've always been surprised that they've never, well, not surprised because they spent 10 years on Good Will Hunting. So Maybe I won't. No, it's not. It wasn't a fluke because they put an awful lot of effort and time into it, and it clearly shows great talent, that screenplay. But it did take. They took their time with it, most certainly. Yeah, no. So it's when you get your Tarantinos, your Woody Allens. It's the rarity that it's just a screenwriter.
I would have to insist on maybe not insist, but I would prefer to direct something I'd written myself because you just have a better vision. Unless you've found something that you've got someone to adapt and you're really fond of it and you know the source material well. I think it's always it's certainly easier. You can agree with that.
Well, you know where I stand on this. I won't say megalomaniac, that would be bad. But I've always had a pretty firm grip, let's call it, on all aspects of the creative when it's something that I'm making or something.
Yeah.
I always like to.
Like Tom Cruise.
No, because Tom Cruise doesn't direct and edit and write.
Well, he likes to get his writers in.
He likes to produce, yeah. He's a big producer. Like Redford, which we'll talk more about on later this week's episode, All the President's Men. So, for now, Will, do you have any final thoughts on Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid?
Let's go to Bolivia.
Oh, okay.
This is why I don't get to do the outros.
You're damn right. That's not why you get to do. We love William Goldman. Will is about to love William Goldman. He's going to love him because he didn't know who he was. He calls himself a film podcaster, and he didn't know double Oscar-winning William Goldman. He doesn't know the writer of two of his favourite films.
Maybe The And might have been a more apt. Now we think about it. Let's change the name back.
I wish I could.
Bring on the wall! Da ba da ba da ba da da.